holding Daf Nun Amud Beis. Six lines before the bottom. Nun Amud Beis. Sagt die Gemara, Amr Rabbi Yehuda. Daf Nun Amud Beis, the last 6 lines. Amr Rabbi Yehuda, Shachach v'yichnes eichel and techpib b'la brocha. He forgot. He put food in his mouth without a brocha. Masalkon l'tzad echad. He puts it in one side of the mouth. Mavorech, and he makes a brocha. So the Gemara says Tanya Choda was one brais that says boilon, that you swallow the food, you don't make the bracha. Tanya the second brais says boilon, you spit out the food. The Tanya the third brais says masalko, and you put it in the side of your mouth. So which one do? You can't do all three.
If you swallow it, you still should make the bracha for the rest. No.
But what the brais says, one brais says to swallow it, one brais says to spit it out, one
says to put it in the side
one
of
says
the mouth.
put it in the side of the mouth. Which one is it? So Gemara Lokash, the Tanya Boilon, when you're supposed to swallow it, b'mashkin, liquids. What can you do? Because liquids, Rashi says, if you're going to spit it out, you can't drink it again. You put seltzer in your mouth, you spit it out, you put it back in your mouth. You can't do that. So, other Rishonim say not only that you become mos, that and you're ruining the liquid, that there's another reason, because there's nothing to make a bracha on. The food the liquid that's in the mouth is already mos. What do you make a bracha on? It's repugnant. It's not. You can't make a bracha on that.
It's in the mouth.
It's already in the mouth. You can't make a bracha on that type of. In the Meforshim, when the Shulchan Aruch says, what's the difference? If a person has a little bit of liquid in the mouth, so it's possible to make a bracha. If it's too much liquid, you can't make a bracha. Liquid is going to fall out. So, according to those Rishonim that say that the food in your mouth is repugnant, you can't drink it. That's it. There's nothing you do to swallow it. You can't make a bracha on this. So it's like making a bracha on rocks.
So you swallow and make the bracha after?
If you have more liquid left in the cup. But according to Rashi, that it's just a technical thing that we don't want to spit it out because you make it mos. So if you have a little bit in your mouth, then you could make the bracha loud. It's a little bit in your mouth. That's okay. So that's one brais. The mashkin, if it's liquid. When you have to spit it out, something that doesn't become mos, it's not repugnant. So he put a nut in his mouth.
So spit it out.
Take it out.
Then make the bracha.
It doesn't become mos.
It's not liquid.
It's not liquid. It's a solid piece. You put a piece of chocolate in the mouth. Didn't chew it yet. You remember you didn't make a bracha. So take it out of the mouth, make the bracha, and then put it back in. So that's the second brayse. When do we say you put it in the side of the mouth? Mimi the mamis. If it's mos. If it's not a liquid, it's a solid, but you already chewed it up. You put the piece of chocolate, you chewed it up. Well, you're going to take out now. It's mos. You can't. Yeah. It's mos, and you're going to ruin the food. Or according to the other Rishonim, there's nothing to make a bracha on now. You can't make a bracha on food that's already mos. Either way. But according to Rashi, the pshat is Pashat. It's going to be hefset oichlem. That's also a continuation of the Gemara earlier. Last week we learned the whole Gemara about how we're supposed to respect food. You're never allowed to throw, you're not allowed to do this, all kinds of the halachas, when you're allowed to throw, you're not allowed to throw it. So that's behemshech to that. Rashi says that's the whole problem here. So that's the 3 braises.
Also, shinai tzurato. If you have a piece and you start breaking it, if you take it out, it's changed the tzura.
Right, so that's what they say. That's what they say. You can't make a bracha anymore. Exactly what all the Rishonim say. But the masal can be the momis. We say you put it in the side of your mouth because it'll be most to take it out. So the Gemara says, "B'midei de lomam is." It's now on the next page. We're holding up Nun Aleph Amud. So things which are not repugnant, Nami do the same thing. L'salkin l'tzadachad. The Gemara says if the chocolate, the nut is a whole piece, you take it out of your mouth. Why? Just put it in the side of your mouth. Put it in one cheek. Targum Rabbi Yitzchak. Kas kesam kamed Rabbi Yosef ben Oven mishmei de Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yitzchak explained in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Mishum shenem, it says in the pasuk, Yimolei fisi l'secha. My mouth will be full with the Eibishter's praises. It's a pasuk in Tehillim. So the whole mouth has to be filled with the Eibishter's praise. Can't have a half a mouth. Chocolate or cookie.
They shouldn't really have it inside either.
So Elamai Chazal said that if there is no choice, so because otherwise it'll be Baltashchis, you throw it out, it'll be Mos. Yeah. But if you have a choice, it's anders. Good. Mitzvah Shem, Wednesday we're going to learn all these halachas at down to the last detail, and there isn't in the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch these halachas. It's in Simen Kuf Ayin Beis in the Shulchan Aruch. So in Mitzvah Shem we're going to do the Mishnah Brura on these halachas. Following week we're going to continue the Gemara. It will already be the halachas of Kodesh Brocha, and that's going to be Simen Kuf Pei Aleph, Kuf Pei Beis, Kuf Pei Gimel. Then the Alter Rebbe is there. Okay, continue the Gemara. So one more time to summarize, you have three things. Sometimes you have to spit it out. Sometimes you
put it on the side.
You have to swallow it, and sometimes you just put it on the side. If it's liquid, there's no choice, you swallow it. If it's solid and it's good food that won't become most, spit it out and make a bracha with your full mouth. But if it's solid food, but you already chewed it up, put it in the side of the mouth and make the bracha. They asked the question by Reb Chizda. He ate, he drank, he didn't make a bracha. Should he make a bracha now? So he answered, Misha achal shum. He ate barley. I mean, not barley, garlic. And his mouth stinks. Another piece of garlic, his mouth should stink even worse. It says in the Gemara in the Dorim that the person who says koinem ma'oich leishum is also to have enough from any Jew, because Yidden, could you imagine, not only in the Delhi in the Lower East Side, already in the times of the Shas, Jews loved to eat garlic. Garlic was a very Jewish food, to the extent that a person says koinem ma'oich leishum, I'm never going to enjoy those people who chew garlic. Forget about them. I'm never going to. You're not allowed to have to do business with any Jew, because the Jews are oichle shum.
We know that when they got it from Egypt.
Yeah, they remember. They remember. So it's not just the Delhi in the Lower East Side. It's in the Talmud. It's already in Mitzias Mitzrayim. The Jews like garlic. Problem is, the garlic is very good for you, but when you have a conversation with your friend, it's not good for...
They call him the Tillemzoger. He smelled from garlic. Whoa. He must have eaten who knows how much garlic. He always had Tillem. He was a...
Yeah, no one else wanted to talk to him. Besides the Rebbeinu Shalom.
He kept on saying Tillem. They called him Tillemzoger, but he swore that he smelled from garlic every time. Okay. Yeah.
So that's what Reb Chizah said. If you eat one piece of garlic and now your mouth stinks, so the remedy is not to eat a second piece of garlic. So he says, same here. You started to eat, you forgot to make a bracha. So that now we should continue not to make a bracha.
What bracha?
You're supposed to eat.
Well, depends.
Only garlic.
If you eat only garlic and it's the way to eat raw garlic, which it sounds like that was the Jewish thing to do, you make adama.
Not shakor.
Again, it depends. Depends if today I think it's adama because people routinely chop up garlic and put it in the salad. It's a very common thing that people chop up raw garlic and they have it in the salad. And as I said, some people even today, it's a Jewish thing. The old timers, a little piece of this and a little garlic.
You do it on toast.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, how do you have it explained?
To rub it on my father's to rub it
on the butter.
Butter, and on the other side they put the garlic, and it was on toast. That was a good Michael.
Just have tomato, something with it.
No, that was it. That was. Probably that's all we were able to afford probably when we came to America.
Garlic and chip.
Yeah, also it holds, you don't need refrigeration for garlic. It's not like today everyone has a refrigerator. It's easy to...
Butter,
it's even better than onions. It lasts even longer than onions, garlic.
Also, you have to wash your hands after that. It's also very dangerous for the eyes.
Right. Okay, so that's what Reb Chisda said. Amar Ravina said, Hilkich, from here we learn, I feel even if you finish the Suda, you should still make a bracha for the food he ate. Okay. The Gemara will disagree with Ravina, and lahalocha there's going to be a big machloikis about this, and as I said, in Mitzvah Wednesday night we'll learn the halacha, and we'll get to the halacha l'maisa, what to do Wednesday night. However, it's hard to understand. Why was even the Havim in the... What was the Gemara asking? A person had a sandwich. He ate a half a sandwich and make a bracha. So he asked him, what should I do now? What's your question? Make a bracha now. And then Avina says, from here I learn, even if you finish the whole sandwich, you should make a bracha. No, finish the whole sandwich, you're finished. That's it, it's all over. So what was the give and take here in the Gemara? So there's two pshatim. One pshat is from the Pri Toyer. That's Oira Chaim HaKodesh. We wrote a Sefer Pri Toyer. On the Yored Deya, there's two commentaries. There's the Pri Chodosh and the Pri Toyer. That's called Peiras Genoiser, the delicious fruits. The Pri Chodosh was Reb Chizkiah de Silvia, and he was a generation before the Oira Chaim, a few generations. And but the Oira Chaim HaKodesh they used to say you always used to go to the kever of the Pri Chodosh, and he used to cry. He used to ask him always Mechila. But the Poel, as much as Mechila as he asked, everything the Pri Chodosh says, the Pri Toyer says the opposite.
It's not Pri Megadim.
No, not Pri Megadim. Pri Chodosh is the
That's why I went to ask him Mechila.
Yeah, but he's still Toyer is Toyer. The business is business. He disagreed with him a lot. So the Chizkiah de Silvia wrote a commentary called the Pri Chodosh, and the Oira Chaim Kodesh wrote the Sefer Pri Toyer. Very beautiful, very, very beautiful commentary on Yored Deya, on the whole Yored Deya. It's very, very learned. Whoever learns Yored Deya usually learns the Pri Chodosh and the Pri Toyer. It doesn't make a difference. Sfardim, Ashkenazim, everyone learns the Pri Chodosh and the Pri Toyer. So he has one pshat. He says it's very simple. The Gemara says that when the night of the Seder, if he has mortar but he doesn't have any vegetables, so you should eat the mortar right in the beginning, when you're supposed to do the karpas. So then the Gemara says, no, that doesn't make sense. The Gemara says, how could you do that? In the beginning, you took a little piece of mortar and you dipped it in. And then later in the Seder, you're going to make alachil. But you already ate the mortar. It doesn't make sense. So the same thing here, a similar thing here. Now you're asking the Eibusher for permission. You went in, you ate up a half a sandwich, and now you're going to ask permission to eat? Okay, but that's still a little bit of a hard pshat to understand. Another pshat is brought from the Tosfos Yom Tov in our Gemara in the back on the Rosh. He says, no, the question is slightly different. The question was, not obviously if you ate a half a sandwich, you didn't make a bracha, make now a bracha. The question is if that also counts for the first half a sandwich. So the Chisda said yes, it helps also for the first half a sandwich. So the Ravina said, even if I ate the whole sandwich, that at the end I should be able to make the bracha. And that the Gemara disagrees. Lahalocha, there's a machloikes rishonim what to do. The Beis Yosef says, not everyone agrees, but the Beis Yosef says, the bottom line is if you do have a little more food left, a little piece of bread, so that everyone will agree, according to the Beis Yosef, that you should now make a bracha and eat and have in mind for everything. But if you don't have anything left, there's a machloikis, and we'll learn about it in Mitzvah Shem Wednesday night. Again, he finished the whole meal. He finished the entire sandwich. Now he realized he didn't make a bracha. You make now a bracha. The Tanya, like we learned in a brayse. Taval, he went to the mikveh. Allah, he goes out of the mikveh. Omer Bal Yosef, when he goes out of the mikveh, he says, Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu mitzvah v'tzivona ala tefillah. What are we talking about? Who's going out of the mikveh? Rashi says we're talking about a balkeri. Because we said earlier that balkeri is not supposed to say a bracha before he goes to the mikveh. So therefore, he makes it when he walks out of the mikveh. We don't keep the laws of balkeri today. Makes no difference. We only, as a hidur mitzvah before davening, so when possible, we go to the mikveh before davening. But divrei Torah, we don't keep that takana of anyway. But okay, the Gemara is talking about in those days when they kept the takana of a balkeri that he didn't say even words of Torah until he went to the mikveh. And Tosfos says a simple pshat. We're talking about a ger. So before he goes to the mikveh, he's one shtik goy. What do you want? A goy? You make a bracha. A goy should make a bracha. What kind of bracha can he make? So therefore he makes it when he goes out. So therefore the Chazal said, you know what, let's make a simple thing. All the people who go to the mikveh, they make the bracha when they come out. So the Gemara says, oh, but that's not a proof for us. The man couldn't do it earlier. Either like Rashi because he was a balkeri and he's not allowed to say words of Torah and a bracha. Or like Toysa, he's a goy. A goy can't say anything. Hocha, mikore gavri chosi, he was allowed to do it. Because it was pushed away, it was already pushed away. A lot of times in Shas, we have this concept, given the itchi, that something that was good and was rejected, so now that's it. It's if to begin with you couldn't, it was loy nira mikore, you couldn't. So okay, but if it was so like this guy. He couldn't make the bracha because he's a goy. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. What do you want from him? A goy should make a bracha. He can't make a balked. He's not. So therefore, Chazal said, let him make it later. And they said, everyone, even the woman, go to mikveh. They all should all do it later. But and
What do
that's
we do with candle for Shabbat?
That is candle Shabbat is another reason, right? That's also, again, another exception, one of the big exceptions. Usually you have to make the bracha before. But here...
It's allowed to make the bracha before.
But here, who asked the guy to forget? So because he forgot, so now that the meal is over, it's over. He lost his bracha. As I said, the best thing to do, the Beis Yosef says, everyone agrees that if you have a little more, says cookies, if you have a little another piece of cookie, make a mazonis now. If it's bread, if you have and then have kavana on everything before.
But yeah, with bread though, it's a whole different thing. You have to wash.
So wash.
So you're not going to remember to wash, to make the bracha also. Yeah.
If you have a little piece of bread, go wash everything, make a moitzi, eat this little piece of bread, and have in mind for everything you forgot. Ton Rabbanon. The Rabbanon is a Ton Rabbanon. There's a few very interesting things about health. It's a Hashgacha Protis. Today, the World Health Organization came out with a whole study that they've been working on for a very long time. They said that what's it called? Type of meats.
Red meats.
Not only red meats, but even worse, processed meats like deli, sausages.
It's not healthy.
They said it's what? They said it's terrible.
They said that years already.
They said
It's been known for a long time.
They
said you might as well smoke.
But they cannot live without it.
So
they put all kinds of.
it might as well smoke. They didn't say that. I'm saying that. They said it's now.
Kill yourself a different way.
They said it's in the same category as smoking. So I'm thinking, so maybe they should allow that the delis should have smoking in the delis. Because if you're already serving deli, you might as well smoke at the same time.
Ice cream would work in other states.
Yeah, because part of ice cream is margarine. Yeah. But they said also red meat. Okay, anyway, so here
Red meat is not good also.
they said also, yeah.
That means
They said it, okay. They didn't say on Yom Tov. Yom Tov doesn't count.
The Shabbos and Yom Tov doesn't.
Yom Tov, they didn't say Yom Tov. It's a mitzvah to have meat.
That's right.
Talk about Yom Tov.
Most of it doesn't.
The study didn't talk about Yom Tov.
You cannot smoke in Yom Tov, so eat the meat.
Oh, Yom Tov, you're allowed to
No, Yom Tov, you can smoke. They're very concerned about this guy Ben Carson. Why? Because the guy's Taka Schwarzer, but the guy believes in the Old Testament. He believes in.
No, and he's a very intelligent guy.
Very intelligent guy, brain surgeon.
Yeah, I heard him speak.
But he believes in the Old Testament. He believes in Sheshes Yimei Bereshis.
Well, he's a Seventh Day Adventist.
Right. He keeps Shabbos.
He's a
It's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
He keeps Shabbos.
No, but not the way we
Well,
do
they
it.
keep.
Not the Rabbonos.
Shabbos
Only
day.
day I
They can't. Well, they light candles, but they do. They do.
Not
other
chont.
things.
Don't worry. He doesn't make a good chont.
They do light candles, but
does
they
not-
also drive and they do
They don't
things
have a
that
Shabbos the way we do.
not weak like we do.
But-
They're not allowed to.
But it's fascinating. He believes.
Really?
He believes. Yeah, he believes in the Old Testament. If he become president, he'll be the first president in the United States who believes in the Old Testament.
But he probably believes in the new also. No.
I don't know exactly.
I don't know
if
if
they
that's
believe.
really true.
No, they believe in
No?
faith.
Oh, he should.
They believe in Yoshke too, but they believe in the Old Testament,
Okay.
Certainly would be
and they keep Shabbos.
Seventh Day Adventists, yeah, they light candles.
So they will have kosher kitchen in the White House.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think. I don't know
Nah.
that they're kosher.
When they do have, they have a caterer and a special comes in. When they have the,
They can have whatever, you know.
Jewish people
It's
there.
kosher.
They have it.
Mayor Koch had he made his
Kitchen
his
kosher?
kitchen kosher when he ran, but he was also
Yeah, okay. Zog the Gemara. So the Gemara is concerned about the health of Eden. So the Gemara gives us a health advice here. The Gemara Health
the
Organization.
Gemara knows better than the
Tana
doctors.
Rabban and asparagus.
Oh, it's
Not to
terrible.
be confused with asparagus.
Oh no! Okay.
Asparagus was a drink of wine and spices that was considered healthy. Yofa, lalev, v'tov l'nayim, v'kol sheken l'bnei me'ayin. It's good. V'rogol b'yofa l'chol gufa. It's good for. It's a good drink. However, mishtakim mem, if you get drunk from it, kosher l'chol gufa.
It's just the
bad.
opposite.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a l'chaim.
Yeah.
L'chaim is
A
very
bissel is good.
healthy.
Yeah.
If
Too
you
much
make
not
it
good.
nice, like no l'chaim.
Ton and yofa lalev. The Gemara, because we say it's good for the heart. V'chol the machamer skin. V'kol sheken. We said it's good also for the me'ayim, for the stomach. V'tanya, we learned in a brayse, lelat, which is lat is a naim, and it's a Rosh Hashanah, so 3 parts of the body. Lamed ayin tes. So yofe and leramat, which is roish me'ayin and tachtoni, is kosher. So it's not good for the whole body. It's good for parts. It's not bad. So when did we learn that b'miyushin, wine that's old, then it's good for the whole body. If it's made, this recipe is made with old wine. This Gemara will say means 3-year-old wine. Then if it's young wine, then it's good for some parts and bad for some parts. Person said he makes a neder. He's not going to drink wine because yain is not good for the stomach. So people said to him, no, but it's not true that old wine is very good for the stomach. So and he was quiet. It's also b'chodesh. It's also for him to drink new wine. He's allowed to drink old wine. Why? Because it was a vow that was made b'tos. He only didn't want wine because it's bad for the stomach, but he didn't realize that the old wine is good for the stomach. What do we see from here? That old wine is good for the whole person. It's good for the head, for the stomach. Just like the Gemara says that wine is bad for young people and good for older people. So the same thing, the wine itself. Young wine is not so good. It's good for some parts of your body, bad for some parts of the body. But old wine, Yoshan, Miyushin, you're looking for your friend, Mr. Greenwald?
He's not here now, but some.
He's better for me. Oh, I'll tell him you're here.
Now you can sit down with us. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll be back.
We don't bite.
9:30. Right?
9:30, yeah. You can- okay, good. 9:30.
Myra.
9:30 for my.
I'll stand up with us.
He's a New York City council. Yeah. Yeah. Shmulik is.
Yeah, he's in Caravan.
Yeah. Kolakov. Shmulik is.
A good boy.
Yeah. So the young wine is like young people. It's not so, but old people and old wine is a good shidduch. By the way, when we say old here, old people doesn't have to be that old. Over 40, the Gemara says. Over 40 is already old for this. You thought you were a young man, huh?
They said age is only number.
Yeah. But the Rebbe made a takona for the Chassidim. Not allowed to drink more than 4 ounces of liquor.
It was 3. No, 3.
First takana was 3. It was 4. 4 kelichkas, each one 1 ounce. Sachakel 4 ounces, nothing more. And but the Rebbe said the takana is only till 40. Because after 40, you said the Beferish in the Gemara that after 40 it's good to drink.
You're not allowed to learn Kabbalah under 40.
Right. Tone
I
Rabbanon.
don't drink Baruch Hashem.
Shishit worden asparagus. 6 things
I'd
it
like
said.
to know about this asparagus, what that is.
Yeah, you got to know the full recipe.
I can use it for my eyes.
It has to be absolute wine, not with any water in it. It's the middle of the page. The first word of the over here is kishahu chai. Kishahu chai.
Before the Gemara or after the Gemara?
It's in the daf nun aleph.
Okay.
Definitely not asparagus what we have.
Huh?
No, definitely not the asparagus that we have here. I mean that vegetable.
No. Asparagus
It's
is
wine.
it's it's right over here. Kishahu.
I don't know.
Tone Rabbanon, Shishit worden asparagus. Ein sheisemena elek shuchai. You can only drink it when the wine is absolutely raw, no water inside. Umale has to be a full cup. Mekabel b'yamim v'shesei b'smoil. Take it in the right hand and you drink it with the left hand. You don't talk afterwards until you eat. But you don't stop. You just in one go. You only give back the cup to the person who gave it to you. You have to spit afterwards. And you have to afterwards, after you drink, you have to the chaser has to be the same mean as the drink itself. As the Gemara will later explain, we're talking about beer. So the beer is made out of barley, eat barley. If the beer is made out of dates, you have to eat afterwards dates. If the beer is made out of figs, you have to eat figs. But Tanya Ein Tzeichen as Elba Pas, it says that you have to drink afterwards pas. You have to eat bread. So Gemara like Kasha, depends. If we're talking about wine, after wine, you have to eat bread. But if you're talking about the asparagus that's made out of beer, then you have to eat.
But what is it?
Asparagus is the Gemara. The problem is the Gemara does not give you the full recipe of the asparagus. Asparagus is that they used to take wine and they knew of a whole bunch of spices that they would put inside. The Gemara doesn't give you the recipe, so it's
because it says it could be made from beer.
or beer. They take wine or beer and they'd put a whole bunch of spices inside, they'd mix it up, and they would drink it, and it was considered very healthy.
You know, today, these custom beers are very popular with a lot of different spices and additives. Some of them are not kosher.
Oh, yeah.
There are some that are not kosher, but now it's a big thing, and there are breweries here in Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Maybe they're getting there, you know.
There's a Braise, one Braise says that this drink is good only for the Leiv, Einayim, and Tchoil. But not good for Rosh, Me'ayin, and Tachtonius. Tanya Yidach, the opposite. It's good for the Rosh, Me'ayin, Tachtonius, but not good for the Leiv, Einayim,
Did the doctor read this Gemara?
I don't know. The Gemara like Kasha. Haba Chamra, depends. The wine is good for the Leiv, and with the shikra, the one that's the drink that's made out of the bis fakir, that's good for the head. Tani chaderok acharav loike. Tani idech loidok acharav loike. One brayse says it's terrible, yet you must spit afterwards. Other one says no. So Gemara loy kasha, but the chamer of the shikra. After the wine, you don't have to spit. After the beer, you have to spit. Now that you told me after you drink this drink that's mixed together with these ingredients with the beer,
It says
you have
there's
to.
an exception.
Well,
Oh, you probably mentioned it. For grapes, you have bread.
right.
Right.
So if you didn't spit, it's unhealthy. So therefore, is maim of nizrakim afil from the melech, even if you're in front of a king. There's no such thing as you have to do it because it's critical. Amar Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha. Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha said, Shloish advonim sochli suri al sarapnim. He had conversations with the malachim with sarapnim. How come? Because we already know that Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol, he had inside connections. He had inside connections. Because we had in the Gemara earlier at Tanya with Shmuel ben Elisha. Pamachas nechnasti laktik toides. I went into, and the Eibishter spoke to me. He said to me, Yishmol b'ni barcheni. So I said to the Eibishter, Yerotzim ufanecha shech v'charech kascha. There is a song, that Avram Fried made out of this. I think is one of his best, truly best songs. One of his earlier tapes. Hamachas nichnasti laktir ketoires lifnai v'lifnim v'rosia kasri kel Hashem tzavokos kejehu yoshev al kiseidom v'niso yomar li Yishmo el beni, Yishmo el beni. Oh, Bobo Borcheni.
That's why he took it.
Yeah. Oh, Marty Loy. What's the name of the Chashir? Vasherach Mechas Kascha. V'Gardarach Mecha. V'Tzach V'Zis Nag V'Mecha Mid Sachesed Mid Sarachim. He said to Eibush, the broch is that you don't blow fuse on the Yidden. He'll always be kind to them, and he'll always be lifnim mishur sadim with them. That was his bracha he gave to the Eibishter. And then the Liberosha and the Eibishter shook with his head.
This bracha has to be mitzkayim today in Israel.
Yeah. There's a beautiful mind with the Alter Rebbe on this. So while he was in heaven, he had a conversation with a couple of the key angels up there. Sochli Suriel Sarapnim. Al titel chalukcha b'shachris miyad hashamash v'tilbash. Don't take your jacket from the hands of the shamash in the morning. Take it yourself. Why? It's not so clear. Somebody should say simply because they're talking about a shamash ha'oretz who didn't yet wash his hands and the tilas yadayim, and therefore it's dangerous. Val titel yodchem v'mishaloi notel yodav. Don't let a person who didn't do netilas yadayim himself wash your hands from netilas yadayim. This is also this thing is also brought in the Zohar. It is a very important thing, and the Beis Yosef brings it. The Alter Rebbe also brings a la halacha. And the Zohar and the Beis Yosef brings from the Zohar because it's a pasuk mefurish. It says v'hize hatohor al hatomei. So therefore, a person who didn't do netilas yadayim himself should not do netilas yadayim.
Somebody else.
Someone else. How about for food? So machloikas, the Mishnah Berurah says that this doesn't apply for netilas yadayim for achila, only netilas yadayim in the morning. The Alter Rebbe's mashma also that way. The Alter Rebbe brings this din only klape netilas yadayim and siman daled in the morning.
But Sfadim, when the Levi washes the hands of the Kohen, he washes his hands first.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not for food.
That's not, and then he washes the Kohen.
Okay, I hear. These are Torah Atomi. Second, and the third thing is al tachzer kois asparges el mishanos neloch. If someone gives you a cup, that drink, you have to give it back to the person who gave it to you. The third thing is a mystical thing. We don't know exactly why.
Well, you have to give it to him back?
Yeah, if this drink, asparagus, if I give it to you, you have to give it, you can't put it back on the table or anything. You have to give the cup back to my hand. Why? In Mitzvah Hashem, before our shir, we start our shir next week, today I left, and all the Meforshim, I couldn't find the pshat. But I'm sure I'll find before next week a pshat for this, and maybe because I didn't look at the Ben Yehoda, I'm sure will help us out. So hopefully next week I'll have a pshat for this. I don't know. So Elo Lemishan Osan Lachavnei Shetachs Base Ba'amrlo Astalgis, whatever, two nasty angels, one or the other. Shalamalchi Chabola, they're from the Malchi Chabola. Mitzapin Loilodim, they wait for the person for Amr and they say, Hu, Emas Ayova, Yodam Ledeachim, Dvarim Alod Veiloket. If we can't wait for a man to make such a mistake. One of these three things. As I said, the last one I can't explain. What's this whole asparagus business? But the first two make sense because the person that's putting on my jacket or is washing my hands didn't do it on Natilas Yadayim. And the Zohar says the terrible thing, there's a Chiv Misa there. The Zohar is very, very tough about things. Walking Dalit Amas, touching any part of your body, without any activity before you do. That's a Chassidim, very careful to bring Natilas Yadayim next to the bed. And the Negelvas, and then right away to spill it out. So this is so even though it's a barichas in the Zohar, but this happens to be this few lines in the Gemara is a raya apishas also for the Zohar. Amar Rabbi Shimon Levi said a similar thing, almost the same thing. I heard three things in the Malach HaMavis. So Rabbi Shimon Levi is the coolest guy. The Gemara says that Rabbi Shimon Levi, there were people that had saras. Balei the Osan, there were people that were so fakretzikt, they were so full of disease that it was very contagious. No one wanted to get close to them. Rabbi Shimon Levi used to hug them. He used to learn Torah with them. He said that teaching Torah to another Jew could never hurt me. He wasn't afraid. The Gemara says it came to Malach HaMavis to him one day when he was old and said, "Listen, I got a job to do." So he said, so Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, "Listen, you know what? Before you kill me, I want to give me a tour of heaven." So he said, "Okay."
He wants a what?
He wants a tour of the heaven.
Oh.
He came to kill him.
Yeah.
What happens if he got a tour not from the neighborhood where he's going to be?
He wants the whole thing.
He might like it.
The enemy said, the Gan Eden, he wants to see everything. So the Malach said, fine. So Rabbi Shimon Levi said, yeah, but I'm very scared of that sword in your hand. Give me the sword. I'm going to hold on to the sword.
I heard that story.
Smart.
Yeah.
So when they came close to the Gan Eden, the Shimon Levi jumped over. But the Malach HaMavis grabbed him by the jacket. So he made a shvua that the Malach HaMavis is going to let go. So the Eibishter said that since Rabbi Shimon Levi never made a shvua and then transgressed this shvua, so you have to listen to him. He made a shvua, so the guy got to let go. So Malach HaMavis let go. So he not only his neshama ended up in Gan Eden, but also his goof ended up in Gan Eden. So Rabbi Shimon Levi was a very cool guy. It's mashma from the Gemara that this is behemshech, because he taught Torah to even people that their goof were saras and very contagious. No one wanted to get close to them. So mida keneged mida, not only was his goof became so pure that his goof, just like Eliyahu, his goof was able to jump into the Gan Eden itself.
See, he was one of the guys that went to Shemayim.
Yeah, and he was able to get in there with his goof. So Rabbi Shimon Levi so then the Gemara said that he said that Malach HaMavis said, at least give me my sword back. So Rabbi Shimon Levi said, no, get out of here. I'm not interested in giving it to you. So finally the Rabbi Shalom intervened. The Rabbi Shalom said, listen, you have to give him back his sword.
That's his job.
So Bein he became a little friendly with the Malach HaMavis. And he gave him back the sword. The Malach HaMavis already had a shmuz already, him and the Malach HaMavis. The Malach HaMavis said, listen, I'll tell you three tricks I have. Number one is al titl chaluk shachas miyad hashamas v'tilbash. Never take your jacket from the shamash. Again, according to most Rishonim, the pshat here is, because the shamash is an amoritz and he never did netilas yadayim, so his hands are still tummy, and he's a yid. He's a yid, so therefore his hands are. Don't let someone who didn't wash his hand yet do netilas yadayim for you. Don't stand next to the women when they walk back from the funeral. because he says that Malachim Avos said that I'm dancing around because Meforshim say why? Because the whole Misa came through Chava, so Misa is associated to women. Ben Yehoyada says because women are Gvura, men are Chesed. So and now there's a time of Gvura, it's Din, because death has a connection with the Din. So the Malachim Avos has his hand is strong now. So that's why he hangs out. He hangs out by the women's section. So stay away from the women's section then. Vipoga, if he does bump into the women, Maita Kanta, what should he do? Linshiv Meduchte Arba Amos, he should jump 4 Amos, should go away, far from the women. Vikenada, if there's a river, the best thing is to go the other side, La'avra, the other side of the river. Because the river, says the Ben Yehoyada, is Chesed. So go to the other side of the river, so be Chesed, will protect you from the Gvura, from the Din. If he has another road, Lezel will go on the other road. Guda, at least stand behind the wall. If there's no options, there's nowhere to jump, nowhere to hide, no other road, there's nothing to do, that's it. And the women are there, he should turn his face away, he should say this pasuk. This pasuk has twice the Inyan, the Eibishter rebukes the Satan, connected the hand of the Satan and the sword of the Satan, and there's 18 words, which is Chai, which means the Yid is going to live. So there's a special Zgulin saying this pasuk, and now the Chalfim, until the women disperse, he should say this pasuk again and again, till there's no women around.
Now we know why the Satan go to the cemetery a lot.
Yeah. That's the general, the Lubavitch Chemer Kedisha try very hard. This is one of the takonas to make sure that there's that the women and men very makpid on this. Because why? Because it's a Gemara. It's a Gemara Mufareshus. So whenever it's a Gemara, you have to be makpid on everything the Gemara says. It's Mitzvah Shem. Next week we're gonna start the halachas of Koshel Brocha, because the next Gemara starts about all the halachas of the Koshel Brocha. There's 10 halachas that regarding Kosher Brocha. So Mitzvah Shem, next week we'll start by Kosher Brocha. As a shaykh is this week's Parsha. What's the shaykh is this week's Parsha, Kosher Brocha? Anyone?
This Parsha?
Yeah.
Well, they ate together.
Hayoim roloi, hayei saro ishtecho, hayoim erinei v'hoyel. So Rashi says in Gemara Bava Metzida Pezayin, what's a business? Why are you asking the woman? What's Negea where the woman is? What's Negea where the woman is? So he said, one pshat is Kedei leidiyoi shehi tznua, that she was so tznua that when the men were hanging out, she went quietly into the oil. To leidiyoi she tznua, that she was tznua. And the l'chava v'albayla, that he should realize how beautiful, that when he's going to see that they noticed how tznius she is, he's going to love her. Today is like an opposite world. I was reading in your book about the Mordechai Lau. This is one of the last stories. I'm finished the book. So he said that in Jarba, this was Sfardim, right, Tunis, and over there was a minhag that people used to get together to drink tea. The guys hang out, drink tea. So the women never would bring the tea into the room. Never bring the tea. The guys are hanging out, drinking tea. So the women would make the tea in the kitchen, and then the host, they would go to the kitchen and bring the tea to the table. So he said in Eretz Yisrael, he came once, a family, a husband and wife, he wanted to divorce his wife. He was embarrassed. His friends came, and he didn't want, and she didn't want to bring the tea in. Because she know from her mother in Jarba that she doesn't go out. So his friends started laughing at him. An old-fashioned woman you have. So he was so embarrassed. He says, my wife is a backwards woman. So he said, I tried to make shalom bayis. He said, go to golf. He tried to, didn't help. Nothing. He couldn't make shalom bayis. So guy divorced her. He says, a couple of years later, the guy's back again for a get. So he calls him into the room. He says, what happened? So he says, can't believe what happened. Next, I got married. It was a modern woman, a modern Israeli woman, secular woman. It's also good. She's not tznius. Gan Eden. His friends came, they were having tea together, and he asked her to bring the tea to the table. But she
was a feminist.
Exactly. She came out. She told him, if you like tea, you could go in the kitchen. You know how to. So he got upset. And he told her again. So she came out in front of her friends, gave him a slap in the face.
Ooh.
So,
It's reminiscent in Purim, Vashti.
Yeah.
Vashti wasn't. Just a question. It says here that the kosher bracha should be given gracefully to the wife, which of course created a storm of the friend who came.
Right.
But the question is, at the challah, I've seen many balabatim, toss the challah.
right. And that's not allowed to. We spoke about it last year. Not allowed to do that.
Not give it in the hand.
But the other pshat is that the Gemara says he wanted to send her a kois shel bracha.
Right.
So all the Mefarshim ask, why did the Malachim have to say we want to send a kois shel bracha for Sarah? Why couldn't Avram Avinu think? So the Maharal says it's not a question. What kind of question says the Maharal? The Godel, you give the oirach to give. You give him the schus to do kois shel bracha. Why? Because he gives a bracha to the balabais. So the three angels, the biggest angel, he got the kois shel bracha. So he made Beire Pri Agofen. So he's the one that gave. What's the question? Avraham Avinu didn't do the zimun. The malach did the zimun. So what's your question? Why the malach and Avraham Avinu didn't do it?
But he says it here.
Yeah, but one other pshat they give is like this: that really Avraham Avinu didn't want to give it to her. Very interesting pshat. Why? Because she became a nida, and Avraham Avinu kept kol Torah tula before it was given. So if he would give her the kois shel bracha, she'd drink it, become tamei. So Elamai would have to take from his kois and pour it into another kois. Then they would know she's a nida.
Right.
And that's not sanua. That's not sanua. That brings us to Lubavitch Minig. Lubavitch Minig is that never to hand something to your wife. Why? Because there's sometimes you're not allowed to hand it to her. So when you hand it, you don't hand it. So everyone knows.
Always put
so
it
you
down.
always put it right. You always put it down on the
Always put it
table.
down.
So therefore, it's always. So that was the minig. So this minig chassidim comes from Avraham Avinu. So that's why Avraham Avinu didn't want to give her kosher bracha. They would know that she is. And why was she ba'oil? Why was she in the oil? So some of Harshim say it's a very non-feminist pshat. That they say, because those days a nida used to stay in a special oil, which reminds me that in the east, Ada Yom Hazeh, that in Thailand and they have in the villages especially, it's gefährlich. A woman in the time of nidus is not allowed to be in the house. They get kicked out. They live in some. It's a konos nefosha.
Well, that's what the guy is.
But she was 90 years old. That was before.
No,
she
Keis
was
Chaim.
But do it now is chazel lo'oidach kanoshim. Chazel is lo'oidach kanoshim. In Thailand, there's millions of women, girls at Nebuch that's at 12, 13 years old, and that's it. When as soon as it's oidach kanoshim, they get kicked out at night. They can't sleep the whole time. And it's dangerous. They get sleep and they get the rains and who knows what kind of things happen.
And they
to them.
watch Shevanikim and everything.
No. So okay, Akaponim. So you see that there's this mishagas that goes on till today in the east. That there's a mocker for this the Torah. That according to these mafoshim, that's a pshat hine ba'oil. That in the time that she was anida.